What's up, my loves? It's your girl, Cece Moya. Welcome back to this page. And if you are new, welcome to my humble abode. Literally, just chilling in my home with my little girl, about to hit up a movie. And I thought, you know what? Let's do this quick video to go into quick detail about this short form video that I made, which was just a snapshot of a longer video that I made about estrogen dominance, but I spoke specifically in that short form about Ginkgo Biloba, which is a supplement that I use for periods, period pain, cramps, menstrual cramps. If you know, you know, I have struggled with menstrual cramps for most of my life. I'm talking 20 plus years. And to the point that I was missing school when I was younger, missing work when I got older, and just debilitating types of pain. And I know that many of you can relate because I referred to that short form video that I posted, I think, on TikTok, Instagram, and here on YouTube too. And it's done so well. And it made me realize that it hit a nerve, like it touched a very sensitive spot. So many women can relate. That's the message that I got from the analytics. So let's dive into this a little bit more. I think there's a misconception. What I've come to learn is that menstrual cramps are normal, especially Black women. I think we've been told, we've been taught, or we just implicitly believed that having really bad cramps was normal. And I've learned that it's not. It's not normal for you to not be able to get up, to move around, to get things done, to go to work, go to school, and function because you're on your periods. It just doesn't make sense. You're not supposed to be in that much pain. So there's always a backstory. There's a reason, there's a cause to this level of inflammation. And that's what's causing. And at the end of the day, it's inflammation. It's the clots. It could be fibroids. So there are causes to the pain. It's not just because you're on your period that you're suffering. You shouldn't be suffering. And it took me so long to figure that out and to try and find ways to not just suppress the pain with Advils, Tylenols, but to get to the root of it. Like, what's actually making me so in pain? And in my case, I thought it was just fibroids because when I was pregnant with my daughter, my beautiful little girl, I was told that I had crazy fibroids. I had two big fibroids. They were outside the uterus, so I didn't have to get them removed, surgically removed, but they were big enough that they were causing me issues. I had a lot of pain, so much pain to the point I was walking with a cane. I could do a video to go into detail about my fibroid story because when I think about it, it was traumatizing. It was a really bad experience. So we could save that for another day. But I thought my fibroids was the cause of the way that I've been suffering my life prior to that, prior to even getting a diagnosis. But I realized that even after I had my daughter and then my fibroids had shrunk. So when you get pregnant, your hormones shoot up and they feed the fibroids. So then they grow. So mine, the two that I had grew to like golf size, if not bigger than that, 11 centimeters and 13 centimeters. Let me know in the comments what size that is. It could be two grapefruits if I'm not, putting two and two together. I'm not quickly thinking right now. It's kind of late, but I wanted to do this. But yeah, two big balls. I was carrying those two balls on top of carrying my child. And after I gave birth, I do recall having less pain once my period returned. So there was a few months of me not having periods after you give birth. That's normal. And then when they came back, I did have a little bit of pain, but it wasn't too bad. So I thought, okay, maybe my fibroids dissolved, so then my pain dissolved. Not really. So turns out I was still having pain for years to come, but then I had discovered Ginkgo Biloba pretty early, shortly after I gave birth. So that would have been 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. My daughter's 8, so maybe a year later I discovered Ginkgo. So for 7 years, I was using ginkgo on and off. And I was still reaching for Tylenols. I had stopped Advils because Advils were giving me bad acid reflux. So I had switched to Tylenols when I was on my period. And ginkgo was helping only, and that's again with trial and error over the years, only if I took it beforehand. So I use the app called Flow, FLO, and it tells you when your period's coming. It'll give you an idea about maybe a week or two. I mean, you could see a whole calendar and you can plan months ahead, but it's a little bit more accurate if you start plugging in your dates and you're very accurate. So if you say your period started on a Monday, you put it right on the app and you tell them exactly when it ended, and then it can count the days and predict when the next cycle is going to start. So after doing that for months, years, I had enough data on the Flow app to kind of rely on it and expect my next cycle. So I would take a look at when my period would start, and then 2 or 3 days ahead, I would start taking the ginkgo, because then I started understanding you don't just take supplements and vitamins or even prescription drugs just for the sake of it and just expect the result. Anyway, I stopped doing that. I stopped just taking stuff and just expecting for the best. I want to understand what it's doing in my body. And when you understand what it's actually doing and how it's actually supposed to help you, that's when you can work with it. So if I'm working with ginkgo, knowing what it does, well, first let's understand what ginkgo does. Ginkgo is like a natural blood thinner. It dilates your blood vessels. It makes your, if I'm not mistaken, your actual blood cells kind of more flexible. So it's either or. So it's either blood vessels where your blood circulates. It either makes them like more flexible so they can flow easier, or it's the blood cells themselves that become more flexible. I'd have to look into that. But either way, it kind of acts like Advil. Advil is also a blood thinner. So ginkgo, I look at it as the herbal version of Advil. And if it's doing that, well, my period is inflammation. It's when the blood is not circulating properly, when I'm getting clots, and this is causing me a lot of pain. So how about I start it earlier? I start taking ginkgo earlier. That way it thins it out even before it's time to, actually be released from my body. So that was the logic behind it. And it started really, really helping that way. Like I would have some cycles that I had no pain at all. And that was unheard of. If you've been suffering for years too, I mean, even trying to conceive the idea of not being in pain during your period, that sounds like it's too good to be true, right? I'm here. I'm right here. I'm here to tell you that it's absolutely possible. From someone who has literally called in sick, missed exams, like cannot function on my period, like literally hunched over. My daughter has witnessed it too sometimes. I can't move. I'm in so much pain that I can't move. She's seen it. So just to show you that, like, if coming from me, I can tell you that it's possible to have a cycle, a menstrual cycle without pain. Believe you me, it's possible for you too. So again, the logic behind ginkgo is to start it beforehand. That way it can do the work. It can start thinning out your blood so that once it's time for it to be released out of your body, it's thin and it's less work to go through your blood vessels. It's less work to come out. That way it doesn't hurt. So that's one thing. Another thing I want to mention, and that will also need another separate video, is even without ginkgo, without doing ginkgo ahead of time, like this whole routine that I'm telling you about, I also cut out gluten and alcohol about around the same time. So I stopped drinking alcohol completely. I've been sober for over 7 months now. But I did realize when I first cut out gluten, I just so happened to do it. If you're asking yourself why, I think I cut off gluten because I asked myself, well, if I'm bloated every time I eat pasta, every time I eat fried foods or anything dipped in flour, right? Why do I do this to myself? Why do I keep hurting myself? I suffer so much every time that I eat this stuff. It's delicious in the mouth, but then I pay for it. Either I don't go to the bathroom for several days, or my stomach is protruding because I'm bloated like crazy. So I said, how about I'm hearing this whole gluten-free thing, why don't I give it a shot for fun and see what it does? Not putting anything together, inflammation, maybe nothing related to PMS. I'm not thinking that at all. I'm thinking gluten-free for my stomach. I'm trying to get a flat stomach. That was before the summer. And I'm thinking, I'm trying to get these abs. I'm trying to see if I can get, a bikini body. So I said, let's cut off gluten and see what happens. Girl, I cut off gluten for, I think, a month. And then I recall I didn't do ginkgo ahead of time that month. And that's why I can testify this, that I know that it definitely had something to do with it. I didn't have pain. I did not have menstrual pain that month just from cutting off gluten. Now, I've also consumed gluten afterwards and taken ginkgo and had no pain. So you see what I mean? So it just goes to show you that it depends on how what side you're approaching the problem, what angle. So ginkgo is attacking the angle of blood flow, and cutting off gluten is attacking the angle of inflammation. Imagine doing both. And these last couple of months, this is what I've been doing, y'all. I cut off gluten and I've been taking ginkgo regularly, especially right before my periods and every day on my periods. I take it first thing in the morning. I take 6 capsules of the 6,000 milligrams of herbs. Yeah. I take 6 capsules first thing in the morning before I even feel anything. I'm talking, I get up in the morning, 6:30. I get up early to get my daughter ready for school. And I try to take it almost right away. No pain. I'm not feeling any cramps at all yet. I'm taking it first thing as if it's like, a supplement, as if it's like just my routine in the morning. I'm not taking it as Tylenol. When you feel pain, you take Tylenol. No, I take it first thing, right when I get up. 6 capsules, and they're very small. They're like little gels. So I take 6 right away. And then about 4 to 5 hours later, so say I took it at like 6:30, 6:45, then around 10:30, I'll take another 6. Usually that's all I need for the day when I'm on my cycle, okay? But some people might need a little bit more. So depending on the kind of inflammation you're dealing with, depending on if you have fibroids, that's a lot of clots that your body has to, pass through. I don't want this video to be too much longer than this, but I hope this gives you the gist of it, okay? About what ginkgo can do, how to use it, but also what else you could try. If you can't get your hands on ginkgo right away, try cutting out gluten, just for fun. It doesn't cost you more. It's not that much more mental work. You're just watching for anything that has flour, bread, pasta, fried foods. You should be staying away from fried foods anyway, girl. But anything that's been dipped in flour, battered, right? Anything white for the most part. But rice is not gluten. But yeah, we're going to go into detail about another fast that I'm doing, or another diet/fast, which is intermittent fasting. We'll get into that in different videos. Look out for those. We'll talk about keto and we'll talk about intermittent fasting and how that has also changed the game for my weight loss, my weight maintenance. Not that I was trying to lose weight, but I shed so much, probably a lot of water weight. If you're interested in that, make sure you're subscribed, turn on your notifications. We'll get into that. And yeah, I hope this is helpful. Comment below. Let me know if you've ever tried ginkgo, if ever you would try ginkgo. If you tried cutting out gluten, What do you think contributes to your inflammation? And yeah, let's grow together. Let's be healthy together. If I can help one person, that's my will. That's my desire, because I know what it's like. My goodness, I know what it's like to be in the dark, to feel like every month you're like, oh no, it's that time again. We shouldn't feel like that. We're women. Women, it's a beautiful thing to be a woman. I love being a woman. We should not be looking, what's the opposite of looking forward? dreading dreading the following cycle, because we know we're going to suffer. That's not a life. That's not the life I want to live. That's not the life I want you to live. I want you to feel excited about being a woman, excited about being feminine, enjoying being able to have your cycle, because that means that you're fertile. It means that you are capable and able of reproducing life if you chose to. It means that, your body is working in your femininity, in your womanhood. So yes, this is my desire for you. This is my prayer for you. So I love you all. I will see you in my next video. Again, subscribe, turn your notifications on. Let's get this page to 25K. Hopefully be in the first quarter of 2025. I need your support. I love your support. I love having you here. And I hope that it's bringing value to you and to your life, and at least maybe to someone that you know who's dealing with very painful periods. Let's get them some help. Okay? Love you.